guess I'll start off with the tour. How's everything been so far? I know it's only a couple of dates, but you still get that same thrill going out there?
Yeah, people are like, oh, you're on, this tour's been going on forever. I'm like, yeah, it started in fucking October, and then we played for like 7 weeks, and then we had a 4-week-long day off, and then came back out for 3 more shows. So yeah, last night was the first one back at it, and shook off the rust. Actually did manage to practice. I know a lot of people are like, Gwar practice? But just to keep it real, we fucking, you gotta keep your vocal chops in there. If you like are on full tour mode and then you go home for a month, and you don't practice, your voice just totally goes back into off-road mode, which is completely different. So blew out the rust last night and had a nice show in New York, and now we're ready here to kill it in what I think, I don't know, this is unsubstantiated, but we might have played this club more than any other club in the world. Definitely in the top 3, and this is the only place I can think of off the top of my scaly head that have been playing at ever since our career started 29 years ago. Okay. And also, everyone is trying to fucking pigeonhole me on the fucking 30th anniversary of Gwar. Granted, there were a couple experimental shows in 84, late 84, we were just kind of fucking around. But really, I'm gonna lay down the law. The fucking 30th anniversary starts January 1st, 2015. It's not arrived at through scientific means. It's an approximation, but it fits best with our schedule. And it is basically really when we started playing our first real Gwar shows since we were de-thawed. So, yeah, this is... So we're working real hard this year to play everywhere possible with the Battle Maximus show, push the Battle Maximus album as much as possible. Then we'll probably even do an encore presentation of this show, but just change all the music and do that in the fall. And then we'll finally start getting ready for actually this whole next year, 2014, will be spent getting ready for the 30th anniversary and a whole slew of new products and new show and all that kind of crap. So even though we're still in the midst of supporting Battle Maximus, we're already starting to look towards, the future and what it's going to hold.
Sure.
For the 30th anniversary, nothing less than a complete fucking global meltdown will satisfy us and our fans as well. They're going to be looking for something fairly spectacular, and we're going to try really hard to deliver it.
Okay, so it sounds like both the new album and the 30th anniversary are priority, let's say. Do you guys have a specific set list kind of in the back of your head, or
no?
Kind of go by?
No, we're just
day by day?
we do the same. I mean, for the right now, definitely pumping Battle Maximus is priority number 1. That's what we spent the last 2 years getting ready to do, and the album came out in September, something like that, and I guess about 2 months after that, we realized that we'd done it. We'd fucking turned the corner on like the darkest stretch of Gwar's history, and after we lost Flatus, it was just like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And because he was pretty much our primary songwriter and definitely was our metal rallying point, and it took about 5 minutes of debate or 5 seconds more. Like actually, I think we knew instantaneously what would have to happen. We had to carry on, and it was the only way to honor Flatus, and it was the only way to give the fans a way to show the same things we were feeling, and so the first priority was to like kind of stop the bleeding on that and pay all due respects and finish what we'd started, and then, which was the tour we were in the middle of doing right then, and then it was back to the studio and write the best album we've ever fucking written, just because it's like, for all the reasons you normally write an album, you want every album you write to be the best album you've ever written. And if you don't feel that way going into a recording project, it's probably time to start releasing greatest hits albums, Yeah. But something we've never done because it's been like, everyone's like, why have you ever released a greatest hits album? It's like, that's what bands do when they're ready to roll over, and we're not ready to roll over yet. And in fact, we never will be.
Sure.
So it's like, the focus became just working on Battle Maximus. Now that it's out, and then the tour started, and that's what we're in the midst of now. All the touring to support that album, which really ended up being a fan favorite and a critical success as well. Mm-hmm. And so it's like about halfway through the first leg of this tour, it finally dawned on me that we had had done it. We fucking were successful. Anything less than something that was at least as good or better than anything we'd ever done before was the only thing that was satisfactory, that was acceptable. Anything less would have been a step backwards, and everyone would have known it, and it might have signaled the beginning of the end. But so about halfway through that last tour, I started to party. I was just like, yeah, we've done it, So now I calm down a little bit. Oderus on a fucking tear can be a fucking horrifying thing. And but now we're just like back down, hunkered down again. Do these 3 shows, end up this leg of the U.S. tour in grand style, and then go to Australia in February.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be awesome. We're playing the Soundwaves Festival, which is huge.
Massive, yeah.
It's massive. Oh my God, so many people are going to be seeing Gwar. And, hey, what's up, brother? So many people are going to be seeing Gwar for the first time. It's going to blow them away. And then after that, it is confirmed that Gwar will actually be in Japan. After Australia, we're going to have to do 1 show in Tokyo, 1 show in Osaka. And that's the first time that's fucking happened.
Flights are cheapest from Australia to Japan as well if you're a band in crowd, I heard.
They're sure as fuck not cheap back though.
Sure. I got one more kind of leading off to his answer, and then go ahead. So, yeah, absolutely. With the material, keep progressing and getting better and better. Another thing that kind of hit my head is it doesn't take you guys that long to record new material either.
No.
Some bands are pretty organic with it, but it seems like it's still natural and quick. You guys have been really consistent. How do you feel about all that?
Well, Pustulus, one of the first things that we decided when we began our quest for our new guitar players, we wanted somebody who was just a really hard-working musician. And Pustulus had 20 fucking side projects going on as well. And, he already had a stack of fucking shit written. As soon as he kicked down the front door of the Fortress and stormed his way into Slave Pit Studios and told us he was our new guitar player, and we started recording right then, and we just totally rallied behind him. Pustulus is every bit the songwriter that Flatus was, just in a different kind of style. I would say Flatus had a kind of maybe more technical approach. That Pustulus is perfectly capable. He's every bit as technical as Flatus, but he tends to go in a more dirty, kind of thrashy, very more abrasive style. And it's kind of like a perfect collision of all the different types of metal and punk, all smushed together. And a perfect illustration of that is the lead track from the album Madness at the Core of Time. It's just a fucking bull stampede of a song. And so, this is one of those long-winded answers where you can't remember what the question was about halfway through it, but you just keep talking. But also what helped with the speed of creating the record was the fact that we recorded it at Slave Pit Studios, our own studio. We finally have a full-on in-house recording studio that we own that is, 24/7 access, and our engineer and producer guy was, he lives in Richmond. He's one of the guys, and boom. Oh, excuse me. I meant Antarctica. And so it was 24/7. As it turns out, the engineer is a real morning guy, and I tend when I'm off the road, I tend to not sleep a hell of a lot and get up really early. So we'd be in there, knocking out vocal tracks at 8 in the morning. Then the guitar players would roll in around 12. And shit would go on all day, and we would end 10, 12 at night, listening to everything we've done that day. And that's just the kind of fucking, you get work done. It's a nice, comfortable environment. It's ours. There's nobody saying, oh, we've only got till 8 o'clock today. Oh, I've got to go and do this and this, then I'll be back then and then, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, boom. It's like, we can always work in there. And there's no one single producer figure that's calling the shots for everyone. We've been around long enough and made enough albums to know, how to spend our time. So, it's never been a problem for this band to be prolific.
Mm-hmm. Sure. You want to fire a few off?
No, that shows. To reiterate, the new album is really phenomenal. You guys have outdone yourselves again. It's the way that your guys sound just organically changes from album to album. It's just. I wanted to ask you what it was like, working in the new studio, working with, Pustulus now instead of Flatus. You answered a lot of that there. But what can you say, how did you guys interact differently during the writing process?
Well, you know, we were very much still getting to know each other, so there was a lot of yelling, a lot of breaking of stuff, a lot of guitars getting smashed and chopped in half, equipment built. I mean, we basically had to build a guitar factory in the Antarctic fortress just to, like, keep up with the amount of them that we destroyed every single day. It's like me and iPhones. They just don't go together well. It's just like...
Do you get reception in Antarctica?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about here in America. Like, you're driving between St. Louis and fucking Chicago and you can't get fucking signal. Last time I was in Moscow, it was free Wi-Fi every single place in the fucking city, 24/7, 365 days a year. It's like, I'm sorry, reading the newspaper over in America, I thought Russia was full of nothing but boob-like drunks who just beat their wives and fucking pass out in the streets, you know, under the Red Star, you know. But I actually have always found Russia to be every bit as free as this country, even more so.
So you mentioned that Toad's Place is probably the venue you played the most often during your career. Why do you keep coming back to New Haven? Is the crack better here?
Oh, the crack is great here. I mean, you guys know those students need that crack, man. Yale runs on fucking cocaine. That they buy powder, but they rock that shit back up in their dorm rooms, you know.
Speaking of those poofsters at Yale, they're trying to get this place shut down. What do you think about that?
What, Toads?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pathetically horrible, and
they think it's too loud.
It's a rock and roll club. You know, conflict like that is bound to occur anytime you have a giant hulking megalopoloid school that basically is, you know, the biggest thing about this town is probably Yale. And, you know, the city makes tons of money off of it, so of course they're going to listen to the city. But with a place like Toads, you have a piece of living history here, you know. It's like, it really should be fucking declared a historical site. And if I was the guy who owned this building, and I'm sure he is, I would be working on that. So, you know, good luck closing this place down. It's not like it's just been here a couple of years, and, you know, this place is a fixture in the community. It's a fixture in the international music scene. Everybody from all over the world fucking plays this place. So, you know, I really hope that doesn't happen. That would be very, very fucking sad.
True that. So I always love to look into Gwar's lyrics because I know there's just so much, you know, fodder there. One particular lyric from the new album is very profound. Have you ever felt that you haven't when you found out that you had? What does that mean?
Well, it just means, I mean, literally, it just means, you know,
is that like when
something you thought you had and then you found out that you never did.
Is that like when you drink too much and then you wake up the next morning in a cell? They tell you what you did?
And you might have thought you had control of yourself or thought you didn't have control. So, found out that you haven't when you found out, then you found out that you had. So that means you did have something, you didn't think you were doing something. So yeah, you didn't think you were completely wasted, but yeah, you wake up the next day to cell, yeah, you found out that you had 15 beers and shots. And you used to have an automobile, but it's wrapped around a telephone pole. And hopefully a family van full of people on their holiday didn't burn alive as a result of your drunken idiocy. When you found out that you had a 4-count of vehicular manslaughter, yeah. So yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a lot of the lyrics. I write them in a kind of open-endedly provocative manner, so you can apply it to your own life, your own situation, and come to your own conclusions about what the fuck they're about.
Kind of like a cosmic mirror.
Sure. I mean, that's the artist's role, isn't it? To hold a mirror up to society, and everyone takes a look, and sometimes the mirror is distorted, or sometimes someone puked on it, or maybe it just hasn't been cleaned in a while, you know? Maybe it's crystal clear, and you look at yourself, and you're like, is that me?
So when you think the band sucks, it's really that you suck.
I don't know. I can't just... It's weird. It's like sometimes when I think I have the worst performances, those will be the shows that I come off stage and everyone's like, great show tonight, Dave. I'm just like, so confused. Does that mean all the nights that I thought I was having a good show, I really sucked?
Could have been better if you think about it that way.
I mean, I guess it could always be better, but, you know, how people feel about things is always going to be decided by them, you know, and what I do and what we do is in the show is just like, if any one member is having a crappy night, you tend to not even, first of all, the audience isn't there to see you fail. You can play the song completely wrong and they'll still be like, yes! You know, they don't notice that stuff so much, and even if they do, they're not going to admit it, you know, so it's like, the golden rule of any performer is no matter how fucking fucked up things are going on stage, just, you know, part of you is trying to figure out what's wrong with it and solve it and move on to the set. But the other part of you is just like, don't fucking worry about it. I've seen musicians just, you know, rookies or guys that just don't have their shit together on stage just lose it. You know, oh my god, my pedal doesn't work! You know, and the whole show comes to a screeching halt, and everyone's just like standing around, it's like like a player being injured in a fucking, you know, football game or something. But no, you just don't ever let it slow down. You just keep going.
So have you guys heard from the World Maggot recently, or are you still trying to escape from Earth?
He had his fill a couple tours ago. Ate many a young lass. Some of them actually got lost inside of him. You know, that's a difficult proposition. It's a lot easier to feed girls to the meat grinder. Basically, they just get lifted up and put into those giant whirling fucking metal jaws, and then they go. Whereas the World Maggot, like, comes out from underneath the fucking drum riser and telescopes out to about 15 feet long and slews madly back and forth. And then some poor woman, you're like, yeah, go in there. This poor girl has got to crawl in between the front mandibles. You know, this thing's moving around and then got to go through this fucking rubber tube or disgusting maggot esophagus and, you know, crawl through that fucking thing. It's
difficult.
Yeah, it's completely difficult. In pitch blackness, you know, smoke everywhere. And so it was like, we would actually, you know, chicks would get lost inside of it. They would just give up and just start crying. You know, we'd have like it'd be like a big bulge in it. It was like a snake had just eaten or something. It was like, trying to get them out of there. We'd find girls in there after the show, just like curled up in a fetal position, weeping. So we decided to go. So you know, you gotta let the World Maggot out every now and then. He has to feed or he'd fucking ruin our temple. He lives underneath it in a big cave, and so he's down there sleeping. Hopefully he'll sleep this off for at least 4 or 5 tours, and he'll probably be back, and the whole fucking bloody mess will start all over again. Right now we're just rolling with the meat grinder. It's a lot easier for the slaves to deal with, and using this method, we can grind up, you know, 10 or 15 chicks in that song, you know, and none of their fucking fat boyfriends.
Speaking of the slaves, does Gwar offer subsidized health care for them, or are they going to be signing up for Obamacare?
I have no idea, no care what those fucking dudes get, what they want. And as far as I know, we still pay them a bucket of warm pus, and they get that first thing in the morning, you know. And the smart ones eat right then because there's nothing else all day. But after the show, they're allowed to do whatever with the corpses. I mean, and some of these slaves do pretty well. I mean, they got whole duffel bags just full of people's wallets and cell phones and, you know, fillings and just various body parts, you know. So I think they do okay. I mean, I know they all have houses, so they must be doing all right.
They got to be doing something right. Have you guys nailed down any official plans for the barbecue this year or anything special?
Well, it's definitely on. It'll be the 5th annual barbecue. Everyone is getting bigger and badder and more fucking incredible every year. I know, I can't say just because we haven't released it yet, but we got it all worked out. The lineup is just mind-fucking blowing. It's going to be incredible. Last year's lineup with COC and Pig Destroyer and Municipal Waste, that was the best one yet, but this one's even better. So I look for this festival to get bigger and bigger. What started just as kind of a party, you know, and actually it was the slaves who got it going. They would throw these barbecues and not even tell us that they were doing it, you know. So finally we got wind of it and we started playing them ourselves, and they got huge at that point. And so, you know, the goal is nothing less than to create like one of the preeminent metal fests in the United States. Phil Anselmo has got his housecore horror fest he does down in Austin. I believe it was the second one he did this year, and we played at it. It was great. And so, you know, we're doing the same thing. And, you know, I have no reason but to believe that every year it's going to get bigger and fucking bigger. It was almost 3,000 last year. I think it could go to 4 or 5 this year easily.
You doing the water park again, or are you changing?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to definitely do the water park again. It's just such a cheesy, perfect, awesome place to do something like that. And everybody really has such a great time. And, you know, we thought we had enough meat this year, but we still ran out of meat. And but we didn't run out of beer, which was good. So every year we get a little bit better at running the fucking thing, you know. Not that I had anything to do with that. I just show up, mouth off, sign a bunch of bullshit, get up on stage, yell a bunch more, you know. Then I usually slip into human form, my little human outfit, you know, just zips up in front, and walk around the crowd for a little bit, you know, and hear what people have to say about the show. We really fucking drenched the fuck out of people at that show. This the show we're doing right now is by far the wettest Gwar show we've ever done. You've always got one kid after the show on the tour. Invariably, you'll have somebody come up to you at some point and go, well, it was a great show, but last year you had more blood. And it's like, no, not this year. I've not heard a single fucking person say that, because we've got these spew trolls on the front of the stage that basically just, in a fan shape, it's not like a stream. You know, sometimes you can be actually pretty good at dodging Gwar, especially if you're a seasoned veteran. And I don't know why you would want to be covered in shit from head to toe, but like, you can generally tell when something's about to get killed, you know. So, you know, a victim or an adversary will stumble out there, and either Bone Snapper or Oderus or the slaves will kick the shit out of it, and then it'll spew. But now, you know, in addition to that, we've got the spew trolls at the front of the stage, and they pretty much go randomly and throughout the entire set. And on big stages, we'll have 4 of them. And they can basically, with the fan pattern that they're shooting out, they can cover the whole front of the crowd. And I've seen the most hardcore Gwar fans that were like parked right in front of this fucking thing. I've seen them go from just like the first few songs, and then like you just gradually see them just start being like, until finally they're just like soaked from fucking drenched from head to toe, every single inch of them, and they finally will just like slink off the barricade just to like get their shit together again. It's like, that's good. That's when you know you've done your job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more blood is better. Have you been working on any more Gwar cartoons? Do you have direct involvement with that?
Actually, yeah, we're doing a little side project with a friend of ours named Miss Katonic from California. She's doing her first graphic novel for her character, and Gwar is kind of guest starring in that. But that's not an actual Gwar. You know, we didn't draw that ourselves. But one of the slaves, the slave McGuire, who he plays Sawboard Destructo, and he's pretty much our lead artist. He's been working on a really super awesome graphic novel all about like the origins of Gwar in outer space. And yeah, he's been working on that for about the last year, and he's getting pretty close to it being done. So I hope that he's able to get that together, and that's one of the many really excellent, really awesome products that we'll release as part of the 30th anniversary. Cool.
Any anticipation on when it might be out? That sounds awesome.
No, not yet. I've been watching his progress. He draws really fast, and he's really, really good. So I'm hoping, you know, I don't really want to release it until, I mean, if it came out the day that the anniversary started, that would be perfect. Maybe we'll start the anniversary on Halloween this year or something like that. Hard to say, but definitely sometime in 2014.
Okay.
What's Gwar doing for New Year's?
Nothing. We're done. Actually, we're not doing a New Year's Eve show. New Year's Eve shows you think would be like one of the best shows of the year, but they always end up being a pain in the ass. And we never get it right. You know, we never get the countdown right. We'll even have a clock on fucking stage, you know, like big LED things. And something always fucking happens, and we always fucking end up missing it. So.
Well, Dick Clark messed up last time too. So.
Well, Dick Clark is just messed up. I mean, I'm all for like employing the physically challenged, you know, but Dick. I mean, really, are we going to see him every single fucking year as he just gets more and more fucked up, but like has more and more plastic surgery to like cover the fact that he's old? Which is, you know what, Dick? Nothing's wrong with that, dude. Just roll him out there and go. We love you, man. Don't be pretending you're fucking 40 years old. You're not. But anyway, I guess I'd rather see a crippled Dick Clark than Keisha or whoever the fuck they're gonna get up there this year, because they're gonna Ryan Seacrest or whatever. Give me fucking crippled fucking Dick Clark any day, even after he's dead.
All right.
Come in.
How you doing? Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Alright, cool.
I think that's about all I have.
Okay. I guess back to the touring front. You guys have been pretty much everywhere. Where's some of your favorite places?
Well, I love specific cities. I love playing in San Francisco. Love playing. I mean, any place that there's a fucking Gwar crowd. Sometimes like the shows in places like Des Moines, will really surprise you. It's like
Sure.
it's like it all comes down to like what the crowd is like and how they react, and people really are super. Just they love Gwar so much, and it's such a big event in their life. Like the one time a year that we come to their town, it's like Christmas, and Halloween and all the holidays like rolled into one for like this super uber Gwar fan. So it's like as far as like specific cities and enjoying them more than others, it's like. Yeah, there are definitely places that I enjoy just as the city itself. Just like Seattle's always great. Amsterdam is a fucking amazing place to play. Anywhere in Europe, I love playing overseas. Love playing in new places. Tokyo. My God, I can't even imagine what that's going to be like.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be just absolutely incredible. But still my favorite shows are here. Canada's huge. I love playing Vancouver and just shows in general in Canada because people in Canada are crazy and they really support live music. Like that was the first. Canada was really the first place where we started getting like really big crowds. Like because people just totally fanatically support live music up there. I guess it's because they're so fucking cold. You have to find things to do inside, which is always really horrible because after a Gwar show you're just drenched. And it's like that trip just from the venue to your car can be deadly. Smart Gwar fans actually bring a change of clothing with them nowadays.
I forgot.
Speaking of Canada, weren't you guys not allowed in Canada at one point?
Yeah. They have retarded immigration and border laws, and if they have all kinds of fucked up mind games that play with you, and they'll put like fake drugs in your bag. Oh, whose is this? I'm like, I don't know who has a bag of laundry detergent. It's like, that's not ours, so quit fucking around. But at one of those crossings, things just didn't go our way, and I guess there was a file opened up somewhere, and it just became, every time we tried to get into the fucking country, it was just like we would get turned back, and we would have, promoters left holding the bag, and really disappointed fans. So we're like, you know what, we're just going to leave it. It wasn't like there was a ban on us, but obviously there was something in the system that was just fucking us up every time. So we let it sit for like 5 years, and then with a management change, we kind of went back in there and bribed the correct officials, and now there's no more problems with Canada.
Gotcha. I'm going to go into character mode actually for this one. On a perfect day.
Kind of been like a little bit of both. So.
Yeah. On a perfect day, what would a Gwar breakfast, lunch, and dinner be? If you were to choose.
Oh. Well, there's no really breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's just eating stuff whenever I feel like it, basically. And I like to be able to wake up in the morning and just basically pull a little string and then just have like basically a giant bird-like creature just like come down into my face and like vomit up, like a mama bird feeding a baby. Just open my mouth and just like a avalanche of eyeballs and elephant semen and fucking pieces of metal and a canoe, just like while masturbating frantically, and but it's already 3 PM at that point, so you can't really say it's like morning time. So and I don't really sleep anyway, just kind of lay there. and stare at porn. But I'm always eating, always drinking, always sleeping, always conscious, always everything at once. So I usually get most of my grub on during the show. That's when I get it. It's nice and hot, and everyone can see it, and it's just like So lots of brains. Washed down with blood and pus. And but I still have time. I'll still enjoy a fucking cheeseburger. What can I say?
I gotcha. Last question I guess I have is, if you were to make a dream tour, what would it be?
Always wanted to do a tour where we basically played in a gigantic ship, right? And we could, it would just be it wouldn't just be port cities, because this ship would have wheels. And so we could we'd come up to the town, and we would like a landing craft in like World War II, and the fucking front of the boat would go down, and boom, there'd be a Gwar stage right there. And people would fucking, all come down to the beach, and we just do that at every single fucking beach city, every port in the fucking world. But as I said, the boat does have wheels. So once we were done with the coastal cities, we would basically, as soon as the show was over, we would drive up the beach, totally crushing everyone in front of the boat. And, and then just basically start doing stuff inland. So yeah, I would have to say the ultimate tour would be Gwar on a giant stage boat with wheels. And also
no boundaries on that.
Black Sabbath, Motorhead, the Butthole Surfers, Slayer, and about 50 or 60 other bands that are really awesome would be opening up for us.
Okay. It's a big gig, huh?
And it's free. It's free.
Free.
Okay. Free beer.
Free beer.
Free everything.
Free
drugs. Yeah. Totally everything free.
Perfect.
Let me end with one more. This is a question on behalf of the readership of Alternative Control. This is important to them.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not working with them currently, but what can you tell us about what it's like to work with Devin Townsend?
Oh, Heavy Debbie is my favorite, one of my favorite fucking humans. He's brilliant, prolific, and he's hilarious. He's one of the few humans Oderus can hang with and not want to choke the fucking life out of immediately. Never seen a guy work like him. Went up to Vancouver to do the vocals for Beyond Hell, and we would track all day, and then we would go back to his house where he had another studio, and he'd go straight downstairs, and I'd sit down there. I was sleeping on the couch in the studio, and not sleeping, laying, staring, masturbating. And he didn't give a shit about that, He's just like, try not to spunk on the board, and then he'd work all fucking night, and this dude does not do drugs. Does not do drugs. And he would work all fucking night, and maybe he would get a couple hours sleep, and then he'd be ready to go again. He's truly a guy that lives and breathes and loves music more than anybody I've ever met in my life. And what I really appreciate, besides just playing a talented, hard-working musicians out there, hats off to him. But what really separates Devin for me and makes him a favorite is his sense of humor. He never takes himself too seriously, and he's just he's got a razor fucking sharp wit. And yeah, he's a great motherfucking guy. So I've decided to let him live a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, if you're serious all the time, you just go crazy. You gotta have fun once in a while.
He's hilarious. A lot of people deride comedy like it's not a legitimate genre. The Oscars always snub funny films, and it's almost looked down upon, like it's some kind of lesser art form. And I always thought that was fucking for people who fucking needed to fucking wake up and smell the funny. It's life is hilarious, and unless it's better to laugh than cry, and the emotions are very, very close to each other. It's like when you're out of control laughing and when you're out of control weeping. There's not that much difference between the two, so just fucking think of something funny about it, and humor will get you through the most fucked up situations ever. It's a built-in drug release mechanism that we all have, and I recommend indulging it profusely.
All right.
Cool. I guess that's all I've got.
Yeah, that's meaty.
Okay. Well, thanks for all the substance.